Jets fans, this is Chris Nimbley, editor-in-chief of JetsInsider.com, here at Jets practice facilities in Florham Park. Staff writer Joe Barone. 4-6 Jets getting ready to take on Carolina Panthers. They're in this weird position where they're a game out of the playoffs and a game out of a top 5 pick at the same time. So this week can tell you a little bit more which way are they leaning towards. They got a tough matchup against Carolina Panthers, who struggled at the beginning of the season, started to get it together, and have come along really strong lately. Basically, though, Carolina's got a really good defense, stout defense, and Cam Newton. That's what we're looking at right now. With small injury list, though, we'll start with that this week, which is good news for this game, but very small list.
Yeah, you got 3 players. You got Matt Forte, who's still rehabbing, I believe, that knee, who was limited today. He's questionable for the game. I don't think he's going to play. That's just my opinion, though. Muhammad Wilkerson, same thing with him.
Right.
Limited, questionable.
But he'll play.
He'll probably play, yeah. And Brian Winters, who was also limited today, he's also questionable. You know, it'll be big for the offensive line if he can be in there because, you know, obviously Carolina's defense, very good. They still got a very good pass rush, and just their defense as a unit as a whole is going to give this Jets offensive line a huge test. Yeah,
the Carolina defense is just really solid all around.
Right.
It's not one of these defenses that has like the Chargers defense, who's really actually Chargers have a good secondary too, but it's not one of these defenses that just has a great unit here or there. They're just solid all around. And the Jets' offense has been struggling as late. Obviously, that Tampa Bay game is the closest thing we have in mind, and they were a disaster there. Carolina has better defense than Tampa Bay. So what do you think they have to do? How can they try to make things happen with their offense against this defense?
It needs to be a two-dimensional attack. It's cliche, but you have to do that. I mean, you have to look at what Jets did against a very good defense in Jacksonville. When earlier in the season, they were able to put up over 400 yards against them. Yeah. So obviously they've shown that they could play against some of the best defenses in the league, and then they've shown that they can't play with some of the quieter defenses like Tampa Bay, for example.
Well, listen, this is the Jets. This is what the Jets do.
And they're 4-6, and like you said, they're a game out of the wild card and a game out of a top 5 pick. So that's what you're going to get out of a team kind of in like that little area, the upside down.
Right, and you're gonna win some games you don't expect to, and you're gonna lose some games you don't expect to, because that's just typically how it works. Now, on the other side of the ball, you got to go up against Cam Newton. Yeah. They have, Carolina's offense is still kind of. They don't have a bunch of huge playmakers. Christian McCaffrey's been coming along lately, but he hasn't been what many expected right out the gate. Devin Funchess has actually been improved over the year. And Greg Olsen's coming back. But it's still, we know this Carolina offense, it's Cam Newton. How will Cam Newton do? What can they do to stop Cam Newton, slow down Cam Newton? What do you think they can do? Do you see the Jets being able to do that this week?
Well, it's all about the linebackers. They need to put up a spy against Cam Newton, make sure that you follow him at all times. And when we were talking with Jordan Jenkins today, he was saying it himself, that when you have a chance to hit Cam Newton, make sure you go bam, full blast right into him, because, you have to bring him down. He's a big guy. He said that when he was coming up in college that he was, linebacker or defensive end, looking like he was a defensive end or a linebacker as a quarterback. So he's a very big guy. You got to wrap him up. He's going to be running all over the place. It's going to be tough, but, you have to limit him, because it just seems like this one guy kind of starts the entire offense for Carolina. The receivers don't really, stand out. It'll also be a test for the safeties as well against Greg Olsen and Ed Dixon.
Yeah, the thing with Cam is he has that running ability. You have that we talk about with somebody like more like Tyrod Taylor or somebody. But he has the size of Big Ben.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed covering the Jets when they would play, leading up to the game against Big Ben, because defensive players would rave about his toughness, about his ability. And they do the same thing with Cam, except Cam has the athletic ability to take off and score an 80-yard run.
Yeah.
So, and he can throw it deep, and he can beat you from the pocket. He does have his inconsistencies. We're all aware of this, but he is incredibly dangerous. And just this Jets defense, while good, while solid, considering how many young players they have, there's still a lot of weaknesses. There's a lot of areas that Cam can be able to exploit. So we'll have to see what happens on Sunday. and where they're going to be. Are they going to be near that top 5 or still clinging to that that wild card spot? Yeah. What do you think? What's your predictions for the game?
Well, I have a key that the Jets, obviously, they need to look at what the teams, because Carolina lost 3 times this year. They're 7-3, I believe. You have to look at what they did wrong in those 3 games and really see if you could try to duplicate that. I mean, they only put up, 3 or 10 points, one of those, against the Chicago Bears. And the Bears are not a good football team.
Carolina's offense, historically, since camps, they throw these stinkers and these clunkers.
Exactly. So that's why the Jets need to try to do that. I mean, they're going to be playing at home. They're a better team at home anyway. It just seems like the offense and defense have clicked at home. So you have to make sure that you get a full effort from all different angles, because that's the only way you're going to beat the Panthers. Unfortunately, though, I don't think they're going to beat the Panthers. I think Carolina is going to take this one about 23-17. I think it's going to be a close game, 1-possession game perhaps. Would I be shocked if the Jets steal one?
I mean, you can't be.
You can't be. I mean, the NFL's proved time and time again, especially this year, where you have bad teams beating good teams and so on and so forth. But I think at the end of the day, Carolina will put the Jets at 4-7.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, fairly ugly game. I'm thinking 20-3, 20-6. I don't see the Jets even scoring a touchdown. I think we've seen the best of what we're going to see with this Jets offense this year. I don't think you're going to get back to that. I think opposing defenses figured out the limitations of Josh McCown, and he's playing good for what we expected, but he's still not really actually a threat. And defenses aren't respecting that right now, so they've caught on. And I think it's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game.
And McCaffrey?
And, yeah, I think McCaffrey will do enough. It's the Jets, again, one of those weaknesses on defense is to be able to defend running backs and tight ends. They get Olsen back. How is he at 100%? Can he just do 5 or 10 plays? That would be enough to win them the game. So I think those are the 2 things you really have to worry about. And I just don't see the Jets win this game. But, I've said this before both ways. So we'll see what happens. But I expect them to be close to that top 5 pick by the end of the week. So for Joe Barone, this is Chris Nimbley at JetsInsider.com. Be sure to check out JetsInsider.com for all the latest breaking news on all things Jets.